Clinton Road is a 16-kilometer stretch running through the forests of West Milford, New Jersey. No streetlights, no nearby houses, no cell signal, and most importantly, no one dares to drive alone on it at night. The most chilling legend associated with this road is about the woman in white, a ghost who stands silently by the roadside, dressed in an old wedding gown, her long hair draping down, covering her face. She doesn't speak, doesn't move. She just stands there, waiting for someone to stop. Locals say she was once a young bride who died tragically in a car crash right on this road. Since then, between 1 and 3 a.m., many drivers have claimed to see her, sometimes standing by the road, sometimes appearing in their rearview mirrors, cold and silent. Some even say they gave her a ride, discover the back seat was empty just minutes later. Others said they returned home to find a mud-stained wedding dress hanging at their doorstep. Whether it's illusion or not, the locals still warn each other. If you see her, don't stop, don't look back, and never look her in the eyes. Clinton Road is not just a remote rural path. It's part of a dark, eerie forest in West Milford that has witnessed numerous deadly accidents, especially at night. The road is narrow, the turns are sharp, visibility is blocked by thick fog and overgrown trees. Many have lost control because they felt they were being watched or saw something strange on the road, just for a split second. According to accounts from local residents and several old newspaper archives, in the early 1980s, police discovered an overturned car at the bottom of a deep ditch near Clinton Road. Inside the vehicle was the body of a young woman wearing a white dress, her hair still adorned with flowers, as if she had been on her way to a wedding. Strangely, there was no evidence of collision with another vehicle and no visible brake marks on the road. Her death was recorded as an accident, but the victim's identity was never publicly released. Since then, numerous stories began to emerge, of a white figure standing by the road, of a wedding dress mysteriously appearing on car mirrors, and of cold, unblinking eyes staring through windows in the middle of the night. Gradually, Clinton Road was no longer just a stretch of road. It became a living warning for anyone daring to drive alone after midnight. People living near Clinton Road always warn each other, never drive there alone after midnight. Because between 12 a.m. and 3 a.m., when heavy fog blankets the treetops and even the insects fall silent, something strange often happens. They say a woman in a long white dress appears by the roadside. Her long black hair hangs down, covering most of her face. She stands completely still, like a statue. Sometimes she slowly raises her hand, as if asking for a ride. But the detail that truly chills people to the bone is this: her feet don't touch the ground. Some have stopped to help her. They claim she gets into the car silently, sits in the back seat without a word. But just seconds later, when they turn around, the seat is empty. One driver swore the rearview mirror suddenly twisted on its own, as if someone were sitting behind him. Another felt a cold breath on the back of his neck, though he was completely alone. Those who don't stop don't escape either. They report flickering headlights, mysterious tapping on the windows, and soft thuds like someone hitting the trunk. But when they get out to check, there's nothing there. Some drivers who passed through late at night said they returned home to find their tires completely deflated, yet there were no sharp objects on the road. All these strange occurrences revolve around the same time frame, the same location, and the same description of an unknown woman. A stranger waiting in the woods, where no one should be. Among the many eerie legends tied to Clinton Road, one story stands out as the most tragic: the tale of a betrayed bride. They say on a cold, late autumn day, a young woman was preparing to marry the man she had loved for many years. The dress was chosen, the venue booked, the guests invited. But on the day of the wedding, the groom never showed up. The last message she received from him was only 3 words: "I'm so sorry." No one knows exactly what happened next, only that she drove herself to Clinton Lake near Clinton Road, still wearing her wedding gown, carrying her engagement ring and a farewell letter that has never been found. A few days later, her car was discovered abandoned on a patch of land near the edge of the lake. There were no signs of struggle, and no body was ever recovered. Since then, strange rumors began to spread. Many drivers passing through Clinton Road at night said they saw water streaks shaped like the hem of a dress on their windshields, even though the weather outside was completely dry. Some claimed a silver wedding ring appeared on their back seat. but when they reached out to touch it, it melted into ice-cold water. One woman, who drove past the lake at around 2 a.m., said, "I heard someone whisper inside my car, 'I'm still waiting for you.' Maybe it was just a hallucination, or maybe it was the final words of a bride who never got her wedding day." Not everyone believes in ghosts or spirits. Some neuroscientists and psychologists suggest that the white woman phenomenon on Clinton Road may simply be the result of pareidolia, a mental effect where, under stress and with limited visual input, the human brain fills in the blanks with familiar shapes like faces, human forms, or silhouettes we've seen before. A place like Clinton Road, pitch black, wrapped in thick fog, and filled with an eerie silence, is the perfect setting for pareidolia to occur. When our eyes can't process what's ahead, our brain guesses, turning a tree stump, a utility pole, or a patch of mist into a woman in a white dress. But one thing still puzzles the scientific community. Why do so many unrelated people, at different times, describe the same thing in the same location during the same hours of the night? They all speak of a motionless figure by the road, a long white dress, hair covering her face, silent, not moving, appearing between midnight and 3 a.m. And no one can explain why electronic devices in their cars often malfunction the moment they see her. So, where is the line between mass hallucination and something truly present in the darkness of Clinton's woods? Today, Clinton Road has become a favorite destination for thrill-seeking YouTubers, paranormal investigators, or those simply chasing fear for fun. They bring infrared cameras, EMF readers, EVP audio devices, hoping to record something that doesn't belong to our world. Some come back and say, "We saw nothing at all," but others never say anything again. Not because they're scared, but perhaps because they're still trying to forget what happened. Clinton Road has never made headlines in mainstream media with dramatic claims. No one has officially confirmed the missing bride, nor has there been any public report of a woman standing by the roadside. And yet, the stories keep spreading, passed from voice to voice, more and more identical, and more chilling. Why do all descriptions mention a woman in a white dress, hair hiding her face, silent, appearing at the same hour? Why do all incidents happen on the same stretch of road, where there are no cameras, no lights, no witnesses? Perhaps it's all just a trick of the mind, a story retold so often that people now want to believe. Or maybe it's a warning that took shape as a legend, meant to stop you from pulling over right where she's still waiting. So tonight, if you're driving alone and you see a figure in a white dress by the side of the road, slowly raising her hand like she needs help, will you stop? Or will you grip the steering wheel, speed up, and quietly wonder if she's now sitting behind you? Shades of Death Road, a winding road through the remote area of Warren County, New Jersey, bears a name that sends chills down anyone's spine. For decades, it has become the center of countless ghost stories and unexplained phenomena that remain a mystery. Although it's only about 11 kilometers long, this road contains countless legends and warnings from local residents, those who believe that something not of this world lurks between the fog and the trees lining the road. Every time the sun sets, the darkness here thickens, cloaking the entire area in a heavy, suffocating feeling, as if the road itself is guarding a secret no one should ever know. One of the scariest stories associated with Shades of Death Road is the legend of the girl in the white dress, a silent ghost who haunts not only the road, but also the minds of those who have seen her. According to oral accounts from locals, the accident happened on a foggy October night decades ago. A group of high school students was on their way home after prom night, a night that was supposed to be full of joy and youthful memories. But as the car sped through a narrow curve in the forest, the wheels suddenly lost control. The vehicle flipped and crashed into a deep ditch on the roadside. Among the victims was a young girl in a white dress, believed to have been sitting in the seat by the window where the car took the hardest hit. Her body could not be recovered intact. The funeral was quiet. Her death faded into obscurity among the hundreds of accidents that had occurred along this cursed route. However, her figure never truly disappeared. Many drivers passing by at night say they have seen a girl in a white dress, long hair draped down, pale face, and soulless eyes, standing alone by the roadside. She doesn't step forward. She doesn't wave. She just stares. That look, according to those who've seen it, as cold as death, yet hauntingly longing. Some people said they stopped their cars and opened the door, thinking she had been in an accident or was lost. They claim she stepped into the vehicle without making a single sound, sitting silently in the back seat. But when they turned around, she had vanished. On the seat remained only a cold, damp patch, like the trace of a dress still dripping rainwater, even though the sky had been completely dry. Others insisted, soft sobbing echoed from the woods, blending with the howling wind and the clear sound of footsteps on the pavement. Those sounds made them press the gas, hearts pounding, hoping to escape what was supposed to be just a quiet stretch of road. It felt like a pair of unseen eyes were watching them from behind, eyes they couldn't see, but that made their spine freeze. A man named Gerald, an interstate truck driver, recalled, "I saw that girl, standing there in the thick white fog. I didn't stop, but the rearview mirror, it tilted, like someone touched it. I didn't dare look back." No camera has ever captured her image. No concrete evidence exists. But dozens, even hundreds of people have told the same story, with chillingly similar details. The white dress, the hollow stare, and the vanishing without a trace. To this day, no one knows the true identity of that girl. Was she a victim of that prom night crash? A warning from beyond? Or just a ripple in the mind of a traveler passing through the mist? Only one thing is certain. Anyone who's seen her will never forget. Beyond the legend of the white-dressed girl, Shades of Death Road is also known for other supernatural phenomena. Not far from the road lies a small lake with a chilling name, Ghost Lake. It may seem like just an ordinary body of water, but for many years, it has been the center of strange stories. Many who stood by the lake at dawn or dusk reported that the water suddenly became unnaturally still, like a giant mirror reflecting not only their image, but deeply buried memories, or something that doesn't belong to this world. Some claimed to have seen the face of a deceased loved one, staring back at them from beneath the lake's surface. Others described completely unfamiliar scenes, as if glimpsing into another moment in time, a funeral, an accident, or the pleading eyes of a stranger. Some even spoke of a more terrifying experience. When staring at the lake too long, they began to feel disoriented. The surroundings faded, sounds seemed sucked out of the air, and they sensed an invisible force pulling them out of the real world. One middle-aged man had to be hospitalized after fainting by the lake, and he later said that in his dream, he was surrounded by spirits whispering strange but haunting words non-stop. Not only Ghost Lake, this road is also infamous for mysterious lights of unknown origin. Faint glimmers like oil lamps flicker through the woods, blinking in and out of existence whenever someone gets near. Some drivers claim they have seen small lights appear in front of their cars, as if guiding the way. But when they followed them, the lights vanished completely, leaving them lost in a thick, choking fog, with no idea where they were. Many times, GPS devices go haywire, compasses spin uncontrollably, and phone signals disappear, even though they're just a few miles from the nearest town. Some witnesses say these lights are not just ordinary lights. They seem to carry a kind of consciousness. Some people have felt a chilling sensation, like they were being watched from afar. Others were suddenly surrounded by an icy cold air for just a split second, but long enough to make their hair stand on end. Photographers who tried to capture the phenomenon have all failed. The images turn out distorted, overexposed, or nothing is captured at all. Yet dozens of people insist they've seen the ownerless lights dancing through the woods. Some drivers left their dash cams running the whole way through. When they reviewed the footage, they found static, blurry images, or shadowy figures darting by, unidentifiable. In a few rare cases, high-pitched laughter or whispering can be heard in the footage, even though the vehicle was completely empty during recording. Some say they felt a presence, not with their eyes, but with instinct, a clear sensation that they were not alone. A local man named Frank once shared a story that gave people chills. He had driven down that road around 2 a.m., doing a night delivery. Suddenly, the truck died in the middle of the road, even though it had just been serviced. He got out of the truck to check, when he suddenly heard a whisper behind him. When he turned around, he caught a glimpse of a figure in the rearview mirror standing by the lake, but in the blink of an eye, it vanished. Frank broke down in tears right there in the middle of the road, saying he had never been so terrified in his life. No official researcher has been able to verify these events, and the authorities have made no comment on the road's eerie name. But for those who have traveled Shades of Death Road at night, especially between midnight and 3 a.m., they all report the same thing, a creeping sense that they had stepped into a place where the line between real and unreal no longer exists. And that feeling doesn't just stay with them for the rest of the drive. It sometimes follows them into sleep for many nights to come. Whether it's a natural phenomenon, fatigue-induced hallucination, or a sign from the other side, Shades of Death Road remains one of the most haunted locations in America. And for those who believe in the supernatural, the only advice when it comes to this place is, if you see a girl in a white dress standing by the roadside, don't stop, don't turn your head, and whatever you do, never let her in your car. No one knows exactly when the name Dead Man's Curve began. It doesn't appear on official maps. But if you ask longtime residents of Clermont County, Ohio, they will point you to a specific curve, located between Route 222 and Route 125, where a series of fatal accidents have occurred over the decades. By day, it's almost forgotten. But when night falls, especially after midnight, the air around the curve thickens, as if time itself comes to a standstill. Drivers passing through often describe the same feeling, an eerie chill down the spine, as though someone is watching from the dark woods. No footsteps, no voices, only a suffocating silence, and a curve that has taken far more than what the eye can see. On the night of October 19th, 1969, the moon was absent, and fog hung heavily across Route 222. 5 teenagers were driving home from a party, music still echoing in their heads, as their Chevy Impala sped into the fateful curve. None of them knew that just seconds later, death would strike at over 100 miles per hour. A green Plymouth Roadrunner, driven by a local racer, slammed head-on into the front of their car. The sound of crumpling steel and shattering glass woke residents from over a mile away. When police arrived at the scene, they found only one survivor, unconscious but barely breathing. His name was Rick, the sole person to survive, and the last to ever speak of the crash, before disappearing from town forever. The death of those 4 teenagers left more than bloodstains and twisted metal on the asphalt. It left an invisible scar on the hearts of the locals. Weeks later, whispers began to spread about strange happenings. Cars stalling in the middle of the road despite recent maintenance, headlights flickering erratically, and compasses spinning wildly when passing the curve at night. Some even claimed to feel a primal fear, as if being stared at, but couldn't say from where. These things gradually crystallized into one clear idea. Since the 1969 crash, that curve has no longer been an ordinary road. It seems to have been marked, and something, from beyond the edge of reality, had been awakened. Not long after the 1969 accident, a strange phenomenon began to circulate among the community of night drivers. Those who drove through Clermont County all reported the same chilling experience, a tall, slender figure standing silently by the roadside around 1:20 to 1:40 a.m., the exact time of the horrific crash that night. At first, people thought it was someone hitchhiking, but the longer they looked, the more they noticed something strange. The figure had no face. It wasn't hidden. It was simply a void, as if the face had been erased from existence. No eyes, no nose, no mouth. Just a dark smear standing in the mist. Its behavior also repeated. It waved once. If the driver stopped, it vanished. If they kept driving, they often heard knocks on the car roof, 3 distinct thuds, then silence. Some drivers said that when they tried to look back through the rearview mirror, it was suddenly tilted, as if someone had just touched it. Some even claimed to see a shadow dart past the back of the car, as fast as the wind, but the dash cam recorded nothing at all. No one knows what the figure is, only that it always appears alone, always on time, and always stares at those who pass the curve, as if waiting for someone to return. If the faceless figure terrifies with its unnatural stillness, then the second legend at Dead Man's Curve strikes fear through speed and an engine roar, not from this world. Many who have driven through the curve at night reported this. After passing a sloped bend, they would hear the roar of a motorcycle behind them, distant at first, but quickly closing in, fast enough to feel like it was about to slam into their rear bumper. When they checked the rearview mirror, there was nothing, only the fog and the reflection of their own headlights in the empty dark. But the engine roar persisted, sometimes to the left, sometimes skimming the roadside, and sometimes echoing from ahead, as if the ghost motorcycle had already passed through reality itself. A few people swore they saw it, a black motorcycle, no headlights, no license plate, and no rider. It sped past in just a few seconds, leaving behind a thin trail of pale smoke and a sensation as if something invisible had passed through them. Local legend links the phenomenon to a motorcyclist who died at the curve, not in the 1969 crash, but in a separate incident in the early 1980s. It's said the man lost control after hitting an oil slick, and the bike crashed into the trees, bursting into flames before emergency services could arrive. His body was found nearly 10 meters from the motorcycle, as if he had been dragged. Since then, every few months, someone hears the ghost bike chasing them through the night. The strange thing is, it only happens once to each person. No one has ever heard it a second time. Many curious individuals have tried to capture the strange figures seen at the curve. They came fully equipped, dash cams, GoPros mounted on helmets, even professional ghost hunting tools sold online. But what they got wasn't clear footage, only distorted videos, scrambled audio, or files that simply couldn't be opened. One driver reported that his dash cam recorded the entire route, except for the curve itself. The whole 5 minutes were burned out, completely white, with nothing but a static hiss, like broken radio waves. Another used an EMF detector and recorded a massive spike. Right before it, shut off without reason, despite being fully charged. Several amateur investigators drove through at exactly 1:30 a.m., the do not go time, hoping to capture the faceless figure. But they all faced the same outcome. Either the footage was glitchy, or the memory card was damaged afterward, or when they played it back, all they saw was a black screen lasting several minutes, though the sound remained. And in it, something was whispering. The scariest part? Some said they didn't hear anything while driving, but when they listened to the recording, they heard a cold voice ask, "Did you see me?" All the phenomena, the ghost, the riderless motorcycle, the signal interference, the feeling of being watched, lack concrete evidence. And that's exactly what makes them more terrifying. They can't be proven, can't be disproven. There are only stories, and a fear that remains intact after many years. Locals don't make a fuss. They simply whisper to each other, "If you have to pass that curve after midnight, don't stop the car. Don't look to the side of the road. And if you see something in the rearview mirror, ignore it." Because perhaps Dead Man's Curve isn't dangerous because of what you see. It's dangerous because of what you're not supposed to see. It doesn't try to scare you. It doesn't try to show itself. It just stands there, silent, patient, waiting for a glance back, for someone curious enough or foolish enough to stop the car. And once you've seen it, it sees you too.